Interlude. The honored hero and her first Hail Mary attack. That was some adventure. Plenty of twists, a few turns. Too bad there were still some bad guys left over after we broke up the plans of that evil sect or whatever it was. And whoever that giant was they were trying to summon, that seemed pretty badass. The Archbishop and I were finally able to meet up via the ritual at the Harvest Festival, even if it was only in spirit form. That girl's prayer reached all the way to the gods. Awesome, huh? Way over my head, that guy started spinning right in front of our eyes until he got as big as a mountain. The clouds he stirred up around him stretched out and turned into these nasty-looking arms. He was like a centipede in human form. It kinda gave me the heebie-jeebies. I mean, right now I don't have a body, just my spirit. Even though I somehow have all my usual equipment and weapons, it can be rather unsettling to float along and then find yourself facing your enemy in spirit form. Sheesh. For someone who's trained enough to be a master sword fighter, she's sure got boobs to spare. Look at all that. As long as we're just spirits, maybe I could fill out a bit, too. Why do I feel like you're watching me? Envy. I know the feeling well. Oh shoot. I forgot everyone can see your emotions here. Or well. That priestess is about my age, and she's no bigger than me. Isn't this lady supposed to be super smart or wise or whatever? And she doesn't know a single way to get me any more size. It's almost funny. Sore loser. Or shadyup. Apparently, this is the astral plane or something. There's this kind of gentle, warm light everywhere. It's really lovely. The light is people's thoughts. Their feelings. I guess it just goes to show how warm everyone in this little town is. That ice treat I ate in town was really sweet. Even if I went without lemonade because I couldn't get a single ball in that frog's mouth. The bacon was salty and delicious, and all the performers put on really neat shows. And those lanterns. I didn't get to listen to the whole prayer, but for sure I want to come back next year. That's why I've got to stop this big guy from getting out of here. That's reason enough, but hey, doesn't Hekatuncher mean the 100-handed one? I'd swear this guy has at least 1,000. It's a figure of speech. It's a dirty lie. I guess it's a little late to complain now, but isn't that cheating? The god who gave me that handout, are they trying to get me killed? That thing's whipping up magic like there's no tomorrow. Oh man. Even I can't crit every time. Hey, you hear that? The girl who always gets a breakthrough is saying something. You know, it is possible to be too humble for your own good. Pipe down, you guys, I'm trying to be dramatic. I flourish my holy sword, a completely unique weapon to which my soul is bound. I have no idea why, but that creature was wasting time trying to manifest itself on the physical plane. My friends and I will keep the world safe. We'll keep everyone safe. We'll put the hurt on the bad guys and everything will be fine. Time for everyone's favorite, the climactic face-off. Here we go. Heroes, have at you. Sunburst. Chapter 7. Cherish the simple days. The autumn sun is weaker than the one in summer, but in warmth it's similar to spring. Sitting on the grass under a sky as blue as paint, it was easy to drift off. Cowgirl heaved a great, lazy yawn and smiled at the man with her. Oh, this feels great. MRM. Oops, did I hurt you? No, he said. But I don't understand why you're doing this. Because I want to. She brushed aside his black hair with one hand, moving the little stick in her right hand in his ear. Hehe. It's actually pretty fun, cleaning your ears. Is it? After that, he fell silent. She took that as a good sign, enjoying the feeling of the weight on her knees. A cool breeze blew out of town, over the hill where the daisies had been in bloom. The sunlight was still warm, but the wind seemed to be growing colder. A sweet aroma arrived on the breeze, fragrant olives. Could the smell really have carried this far? She wondered. The world seemed at ease. He hadn't told her much, but the rain had stopped, the storm had passed, and everything was over. Travelers on the way home frowned at the goblin corpses they found along the roads. The low-ranking adventurers who had been dispatched shortly after dawn to clean up were probably none too happy, either. But the one who had silently gone about digging holes and setting traps did not seem to pay it much mind. The festival was over, and he had done what he had to do. That was all. And that meant, I have to go back to how I was, too, ho. What's that? And nothing, she said, then brought her lips close to his ear and blew gently. He shifted in surprise. I knew this would be fun, she thought. Done. Flip over. I'll do the other side. All right. He obediently rolled over, like a giant puppy. He was a bit too dangerous for a pet, though, and maybe not impressive enough for hunting. A stray. She stroked his hair at the thought. Not quite. You do have a home. What are you talking about? I wonder. She chuckled meaninglessly and tugged on his ear. Stay still, now. I wouldn't want to get it too deep. That would be a problem. You could stand to be a little less serious, though. She giggled. What did her laugh sound like to him, now that they were so close? His voice was always slightly muffled by his helmet. Did hers sound the same to him? As she mulled over these thoughts, he gave a grunt. Sorry. Let's take a break. Huh. Cowgirl blinked, but withdrew the earpick. Sure, but... What's up? We have visitors. He had heaved himself up. She followed his gaze and did indeed spot several people. One was small, one slim, one short, and one towering. Even as she smiled in understanding, he was donning his helmet. He lowered the visor, secured it, gathered his gear, and nodded. He was ready. You don't have to be embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed, he said as he stood. He surveyed the faces of his four companions, and then asked, Goblins? Yeah. And how? Not that I want anything to do with it, but High Elf Archer made a sound halfway between a snort and a sigh. That receptionist girl pleaded with us, said nobody else would do it. So we didn't have any choice. Let's go. Where is it? How large? It took him no time at all to decide. That was the answer he always gave. High Elf Archer rolled her eyes to the clouds, but Lizard Priest was used to this already. In the mountains. Evidently a rather sizable nest. All right. Equipment. Oh. I already bought everything. Priestess seemed simultaneously proud of herself and a bit embarrassed. That explained the largish bag she was carrying. If they had to go into the mountains on foot rather than by carriage, they would need quite a range of items. And she was already enough of an adventurer to have thought ahead and obtained everything. Food and wine, I assume. And everything else we normally use, asked Dwarf Shaman. Good. Goblin Slayer nodded. Whatever else we need, we can get when we arrive. Was it a villager who filed the quest? Indeed. Then they'll know the area. First thing when we get there, we study the terrain. Cowgirl watched him prepare, one item at a time. There was something irresistible about it, something so utterly reliable, and she felt a smile creep over her face. She stood quietly from the grass. At the same moment, he turned his helmet toward her. Sorry. I'll be back. Sure? Don't worry about it. You're the only one who can do it, right? Yes. Then he spoke up again, as if something had just occurred to him. The fragrant olives. Yeah. I researched them, but I don't think they fit me. Oh, no. Cowgirl cocked her head, the wind picking up her hair. I think I'd have to disagree. Would you? Sure. I see. And with that he fell silent and left on his adventure, no, his goblin hunt. He would beat them. He would beat them and come home. Cowgirl understood perfectly that this was how he would spend his days. And she would spend hers waiting for him. Just as she always did, now that the festival was over. She watched him go, smiling, then turned back to the farm with a whisper. Now then. The wind gusted from far away, carrying once more the scent of the olives. Those flowers represented four things: purity, humility, true love, and first love. I think it fits perfectly. Her murmur, like the fragrance of flowers, was borne away by the wind. Autumn had deepened, and the footfalls of winter approached.